I found out that the man who tormented me for 4 years was secretly using his wife's inheritance to fund a gambling addiction, so I didn't just expose him. I became his bookie and took every last cent before sending the proof to his entire contact list. My name is Alex, and for the longest time, I was the designated victim of the most popular clique at Northwood High. They didn't just call me names, they broke my spirit, destroyed my first relationship, and made me feel like my existence was a mistake. But they made one fatal error. They bullied the kid who spent his weekends learning how to crack encrypted files and trace digital footprints. Years later, I've returned as a ghost in their machines, a shadow in their bank accounts, and the architect of their total social and financial ruin. Was I wrong to wait a decade just to dismantle their lives piece by piece? Tell me if you would have shown mercy after what I'm about to tell you. To understand why I did what I did, you have to understand the level of cruelty I endured. High school wasn't just tough for me, it was a psychological war zone. The leaders of the assault were Mark, Tiffany, and Chad. Mark was the untouchable star athlete, a boy with $1 million smile and a heart made of cold flint. Tiffany was the ice queen, a girl who used her beauty as a weapon to humiliate anyone she deemed lesser. And Chad was the enforcer, the one who took physical pleasure in making me feel small. I remember the incident that changed everything. It was senior year, and I had finally found a girl, Sarah, who looked past my glasses and my stutter. We were supposed to go to the winter formal together. Mark and Tiffany found out. They didn't just tease me, they staged a fake intervention in the middle of the crowded cafeteria. Tiffany stood on a table and read aloud fake, explicit messages she claimed I had sent her, while Mark held me back so I couldn't run. It was a total fabrication, but the school believed the pretty people. Sarah was so humiliated by the association that she moved schools a month later. I was left alone, branded a creep, with Mark's laughter ringing in my ears as he whispered, "Know your place, nerd." After high school, I didn't just go to college, I went on a mission. I disappeared into the world of high-level cybersecurity and data forensics. While they were staying in our small town, getting married, and working mediocre jobs, I was becoming a ghost. I learned how to move through servers like a shadow. I became a consultant for firms that handle the darkest parts of the web. I grew rich, yes, but I stayed quiet. I lived in a high-rise in the city, watching their lives through the glowing portals of social media. I watched Mark marry Tiffany in a fairy tale wedding that they clearly couldn't afford. I watched Chad become a local cop, using his badge to continue the same bullying he started in the 10th grade. For 10 years, I watched and I waited. I didn't want to just snap at them. I wanted to wait until they had something to lose. I wanted them to have houses, reputations, and families. I wanted the fall to be long, and I wanted the landing to be hard. The opportunity finally arrived when I discovered Mark's secret. Through a backdoor entry into a popular offshore gambling site, I saw a familiar name. Mark had been losing thousands of dollars a week. He wasn't using his salary from the car dealership. He was draining the trust fund Tiffany's late father had left for their children's education. This was the opening I needed. I didn't just report him. I created a sophisticated phishing scheme that made him believe he was dealing with a VIP high roller club. I messaged him under the guise of an elite broker, offering him sure-thing bets to recoup his losses. He was so desperate, so blinded by his own arrogance, that he didn't check the credentials. Over the course of 3 months, I led him down a rabbit hole. I made him feel like a winner for the first 2 weeks, letting him win small amounts of my own money to build his confidence. Then I went for the throat. I offered him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity on a high-stakes game. He bet everything. The house, the savings, the college funds. When the game ended, I didn't just take the money. I redirected it into a locked, untraceable offshore account. So that's the situation I was in. I had the leader of my childhood nightmares on the verge of a total breakdown. I had the power to stop, return the money, and walk away with the satisfaction of knowing I could have destroyed him. But then I remembered the cafeteria. I remembered Sarah's face. I remembered the 3 hours I spent locked in a dark locker while they laughed outside. Before I tell you how I finished off Tiffany and Chad, I want you to pause and comment below. If you had the power to take back everything a bully stole from you, would you pull the trigger, or would you be the bigger person? I want to see your honest thoughts in the comments right now. I chose to pull the trigger. But I wasn't done with Mark yet. I sent a single, anonymous email to Tiffany. It didn't contain a message, it just contained the login credentials to Mark's secret gambling accounts, and the transaction history showing the trust fund was empty. The explosion was magnificent. Within 48 hours, their perfect marriage was a crime scene of screaming matches and police calls. Tiffany, ever the narcissist, tried to play the victim on social media, but I was ready for her too. I had spent years collecting the digital trash she thought she had deleted. Every mean comment she'd ever made. Every time she'd used a slur in a private group chat. And most importantly, the original footage of her and Mark planning the intervention against me 10 years ago. I leaked it all to the local town Facebook group. The Ice Queen was melted by the heat of public hatred. She lost her job at the local boutique, her friends blocked her, and she was forced to move back in with her mother, disgraced and penniless. Then there was Chad. The bully with a badge. He felt untouchable. But even heroes have digital footprints. I found that Chad had been using his police computer to stalk his ex-girlfriends and harass local teenagers he didn't like. I didn't go to his department. They were his friends. Instead, I sent the encrypted logs to the state's Internal Affairs Bureau and the local news station simultaneously. I included GPS data showing he was frequently at a local bar while on the clock. By the time the news broke, Chad wasn't just fired, he was under investigation for official misconduct. He lost his pension, his house, and his tough guy reputation. He was reduced to a man sitting in a small apartment, terrified that the people he had spent years harassing would finally come for him. The aftermath was a symphony of justice. Mark is currently working 3 jobs just to pay back the debt he owes to the bank, and his kids will never go to the colleges he bragged about. Tiffany is a social pariah, unable to show her face in the town she once ruled. And Chad? He's waiting for a trial that will likely end his career for good. As for me, I'm still the same nerd I always was. I still wear glasses, I still love my tech, and I still keep to myself. The difference is, I no longer hear the laughter in my head. The silence is beautiful. I didn't just get revenge. I rebalanced the scales. I showed them that the person you think is nothing can eventually become the person who decides if you have anything at all. They lived their lives like the world was their playground, so I decided to close the park. I know some of you might think this was too much. You might think that a decade is too long to hold a grudge. But when someone tries to delete your future, you have every right to edit theirs. This wasn't about hate. It was about the consequences of one's own actions. I was simply the delivery man for the karma they had been ordering for years. Like this video if you were on my side and think that bullies should finally face the music. Subscribe for more stories like this where the invisible kids finally get to speak up and take charge. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments. Did I go too far, or was this the best way to handle a decade of pain? I'll be reading your responses. I'll see you all in the next story.